Hello everyone and welcome to Faithful to the Traitors. That's right, we are back after a short hiatus.
Quite a long one actually.
Yes.
I feel like we've forgotten how to do it.
We've forgotten how to do this podcast, we've forgotten how the game of the Traitors is played.
I forgot to talk. I forget how to do that now.
So we're very...
This is going to be a bad podcast.
This is like a pilot series again. We're back. It's been that long.
It's like the old days when we used to sit in the lounge, not even visual. We used to just sit in the lounge and just hold a microphone 12 hours and go, "Hi Ben, how are you?" "Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Are you good?" Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
No.
So we are here and we are discussing Series 2. That's right, it did get renewed. 2. It got renewed, everyone.
Rightly so. Series 1 was outstanding. As I've mentioned before, other than the UK series, although I'm regionally biased, New Zealand was my best favourite series.
Yes, so we are in New Zealand. We, I need to do my name. My name is Ben, and I haven't been groped on the shoulder by Paul Henry, so I am a faithful.
Oh dear, Jackie wanted to be groped, didn't she? I'm Alex.
Don't glug the water.
I'm sorry. I just want to say that's nothing's been proven. No. So my name's Alex, and I am also a faithful. And welcome back to the podcast. Anyone who's listened to us do the Canadian series, the American series, the UK series, and the last New Zealand series. And may I just introduce you all to our socials. You can find us on X at Traitors Podcast, Instagram at Faithful to the Traitors. You can also find us on YouTube if you're listening to us on your favourite podcast app by searching Faithful to the Traitors Podcast. And if you have anything you'd like to add to this podcast, please get in touch, faithfultothetraitors@gmail.com. And as always, Charlie the Cat, our producer, he needs his treats. He needs a fancy new bowl because his last one is not holding out as well as it used to. And so you can help contribute to the show by going to buymeacoffee.com/faithful. And that helps us build the show even bigger than what it is already.
Even though we just admitted we can't remember what we're doing.
Yes.
But, it all fits back in.
But then, to be honest with you, I think people come in now expecting us to, A, get names wrong, B, listen to the soundboard of silly sounds, and C, just basically be horrible. But we're not horrible. We must say this, because you must do the disclaimer at the top of every series of Traitors, which is...
Welcome to my back paddock.
Exactly.
Yes. So every time we start a new series of the Traitors, we do have to do our official disclaimer for anyone out there who has something to say. We are discussing the reality show, competition show, The Traitors, and the contestants, who we do know. They are real people.
We get that.
And this year, not even celebrities. So there really is no excuse for us to slag people off.
I mean, we have two social influencers. I love the bit...
Are you famous?
Yeah.
I'm on TikTok.
So no.
Who was that? I think that was Brittany.
That was Brittany. I wrote straight away when they said, "Are you famous?" Her reply was, "I'm on TikTok." Is it like insinuated that yes, of course I am.
In New Zealand, that's famous.
It depends how many followers you have who live in New Zealand.
I mean, we do remember last series of New Zealand that the cast basically told us no one is a stranger in New Zealand and everyone knows each other.
Everyone
so it's
knows
impossible to cast. But this year they have done the impossible. Although two people know each other. But they work in the same office or something. They were like, "I've seen you working in the corridor."
Yeah, I didn't even recognise you. I wonder if the producer sat there and thought, "Oh, God's sake, we got it wrong again." One person though is
22 complete strangers.
Two know each other from the office. One also isn't a native of New Zealand. Our Jane. Jane is from the UK.
Flying the flag for Jane.
We're flying the flag for Jane.
So she is our winner.
Style. Flying the flag. I have to do that.
I have a very wobbly table on my microphone stand. So it is wobbling. But it won't stop wobbling. But here we are.
We know how you can fix that by going to buymeacoffee.com/faithful so we can buy a new table that isn't wobbly.
This
Paul
table
Henry,
is from Home Bargains.
Paul Henry, we know you listen, by the way. We know you listen. We asked last series. We kept saying, "Give us some gin."
Yeah, the forever camp Paul Henry.
We love Paul Henry. His publicity photos, he looks like a mole. Let's be honest. With his tiny little glasses,
yes.
He looks like Wind of the Willows. We love him. Paul Henry is by far the best villain ever in Traitors lore.
Why do you have a cane?
Yes.
All right,
I
Paul.
love that he questions someone's disability.
Even though he also has a cane. It's all very odd.
Again, we question that. No, we don't at all. But that's part of his character. That's part of Paul Henry's character, his cane. Like, he's ready. Like, you can see by his tight grip, he's ready to just give a backhand to one of them. And that is why Jackie wants a bit of it.
I haven't even finished our disclaimer yet.
No, sorry.
Our disclaimer is that we freely slag off these contestants, whether they're celebrities or not.
We have comments about them.
Yeah, but we are only commenting on their 45 minutes bits on the show. Nothing about them in real life. Or if we hate you, we hate you in the show, not actually hate you, okay?
We don't
That's what
hate
it's like.
anyone
You
on
know
the
what I
show,
mean. You
but-
never know. There
but
is a
we-
clairvoyant, so
I mean, we're straight away thinking, you know,
dangerous ground.
but we have a history of clairvoyance.
But
However,
nothing
we
is
must,
personal, basically.
nothing is personal. We don't hate
And
anyone.
you
but
can slag off us.
we
up
might
too.
have critiques of how they play the game, and that's what we're critiquing. And honestly, believe it or not, a lot of people who are on the series of the Traitors, be it the UK, Canada, I did this every time, Canada, United States, or New Zealand, or Australia, indeed, they do get in touch with us and they say they enjoy the show and they love actually the bants. They love a bit of bants. So, please, honestly, don't take anything to heart. It's all a bit of fun. Which is what Jackie wants with Paul
Unless
Henry.
you're a clairvoyant.
Unless you're a clairvoyant. I think Jackie is the clairvoyant.
She is,
She
yes.
is the clairvoyant.
Jackie
yes.
was, when I got the photos all together for the cast, because it's impossible, we all know it's impossible to remember who everyone is for like the first 5 episodes.
Again, this is a critique that people say about us, that we always get everyone's names wrong. We always get the wrong people's names.
And
We
I
get
stand
it.
by that.
We're fine. Wait till it whittles down a little bit to about 12 contestants, and then we'll be golden. We'll be
We'll be
golden.
So we have a new series of New Zealand. The budget seems to have been upped because Paul Henry isn't in his bachelor. What was it? A bachelor bungalow on the mountainside anymore. No, he's in a proper Traitors castle.
Full address as well. Claremont Manor.
Yeah, on
Mount Horrible.
yeah, perfect address for Paul Henry. Love it.
I genuinely would
Fits
like to
into a
know, I could just look on Google Maps, I suppose, but is there such a place as Mount Horrible, or has it just been made up for the purposes of the show?
No, Paul Henry.
Get in touch.
What has happened in our lore of the Traitors presenters all being related to each other, right?
Well, Paul Henry's the cancerous, like, angry...
Drunk uncle.
Drunk
on gin.
uncle, yeah, on
Well,
gin.
basically, what has happened here, okay, so everyone who follows our lore,
There is law.
listen up. We do know that, sadly, Australian Traitors is no more.
Sadly, but then, on the strength of series 2, were we surprised?
No.
It was a shocking series.
So what has happened is Roger Corser has been thrown out of the Traitor family. He's been banished or murdered.
By who?
Paul Henry. Because Paul Henry knew that in Roger Corser's will, he's left him a new Traitors Manor in New Zealand, which he's now moved into.
Roger Corser had the money, don't forget, because he had...
Stole it all.
He stole it all. He had an undercover crime scene. Think
Disguised
mafia.
as an episode of the Traitors.
Basically, he made it a tax write-off by broadcasting it on Australian television. But a lot of the thieving that took place was for the benefit of Paul, not Paul Henry, of Roger.
Yeah, and now he's been cast out because the
now-
show's been cancelled.
That's it. Paul Henry's
So-
murdered, has murdered Terry. God, what's wrong
Who's
with me?
Terry?
Roger. And now, but what's to happen with Claude now? Claudia, she's the niece, remember?
Who
She's the-
cares? All we're saying is that Paul
okay.
Henry has inherited a new Traitor Manor from the axing of the
about
Traitors
Alan?
Australia.
Alan's the fun uncle.
Well, there's Sam Smith now,
Sam Smith.
the new butler, who was also a contestant last series
Yes,
on
Sam
New
Smith.
Zealand.
Sam Smith, who was
Our
given
friend.
the task of carrying a very
Yeah.
heavy tray of...
He's like the butler from Tomb Raider.
And then they asked him what was on the tray, and he's like, I don't know.
You're blind.
Yes.
Paul Henry had slagging off another disability.
Paul
'cause that's
Henry
all he does.
literally slagged him off the whole time. He's like, in your own time. Come on, Sam. Off you go.
You're
It was-
blind. Why do you have a cane? What's going on? Where's my gin?
It was lovely to see Sam again. I must admit,
Yes.
it was lovely to see Sam again. I love Sam to absolute pieces. Yeah, it was great to see him again. Although, quite rightly pointed out by the cast, is like, why are you back? You won $100,000. Leave, for heaven's sake. Off
Bit of
you
a
go.
spoiler there for everyone watching. But it was on
I'm
the show. It was
sorry.
on the show,
It's
so
happened.
that's what
It's
it
been
is.
discussed.
But he wasn't the only winner, so you can still watch it and get surprised, okay?
It's a good series, as I mentioned
is.
already. Series 1 is fantastic.
Right, so new cast, new characters, new
Yes.
traitors.
Should we introduce ourselves to a few of them? So, Brittany is a TikTok influencer. Joe is a content creator. Famous. Celebrities.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Why is Jason, in his promo picture, he's wearing a builder's outfit, but
Yes.
he's actually a landscaper / a secret ex-military?
This is what he's doing,
But
you
his
see.
promo picture, he's in like a high-vis vest. It's
Well, like he
why?
works on the roads at midnight with all those
Yeah.
flashing lights. It's like, slow down. You don't want to hit. I don't know. He's holding it like a waistcoat as well. He's very proud of himself in his promo
So it's all
photo.
very strange.
He's playing down the fact that he's ex-military.
Yep, secret.
Secret Service, I think he kind of hinted at, he kind of teased. So he feels like he's got a bit of a he's able to look under the skin of some people.
And Jane is Is Jane keeping
Jane,
secret
our
that
British
she
hero,
is-
she's a UK police, ex-UK
Yeah,
police
but that's
officer.
secret, isn't it? I'm sure.
She's not openly admitted it
she's
to
like,
anyone.
I work in an office, and then the woman was like, I work with you. It's like, oh, whoops. And Jackie's keeping secret that she's a clairvoyant, but she's telling everyone that she's a psychic. So I'm not sure.
I know.
Not sure what's happening there.
She's not really gone forward with that. Jackie's the most vocal as well, as you notice. We'll talk about like people pointing fingers, but Jackie hates a lot of people quite quickly. She's already
fair.
She's already chosen 2 people who's in her like I dislike radar, which was shall I say that now and then we can maybe elaborate later. So she doesn't like Mark very much. But we've got much to discuss about Mark.
Mark the builder. Yeah.
No, Mark the game player.
Oh,
You're
Mark,
thinking
not
of Mike.
Sorry, yes.
And she doesn't like Jane very much. She's like, I can't wait. Well, as you'll find out later, she can't wait to basically manipulate Jane out of the game. So Jackie and Paul would just get on like a house on fire, which is why I kind of encourage this relationship between Paul Henry and Jackie right now. Because she really did want to be, as you said, touched by Paul. I don't know if she so much wanted to be a traitor, just the human touch.
Well, the cast last year did say even by the series final, Paul didn't know anyone's name. So Jackie may have a way to go for that because she's not even a celebrity.
Paul doesn't care. Paul's there for the paycheck. Although I must say, I think Paul has got super camp this series already. Like that doll and his story behind that doll in the game as well is like,
children.
oh, my niece had this doll and she pulled it apart. Its name was Lucy and now it's Lucifer. Like, was that Paul's script or was that written for him? I feel like Paul wrote most of that.
Yeah, who knows? So they Sam handed them all a drink. 2 of the drinks were coloured red. I did wonder, is it poison? Are you going to be banished? Are you going to get immunity? The people who pick the coloured ones, are you going to be traitors?
That's obvious though, isn't it?
Well, I had all these questions, you see. But
Swimming
none
in
of
your
them
mind.
none of them was true because it was actually you get to choose to keep 5,000 or give 5,000 to the pot.
Awful decisions made by both of them. I'm sorry.
Who was it? It was
Brittany and Molly. Brittany and Molly both decided to pick up. I mean, again, this wasn't something that
Or was it Whitney?
Let me have a look at my notes.
It may have been Whitney and Molly.
It was Whitney and Molly.
Right.
So Whitney and Brittany all sound the same. Whitney and
We've
Molly.
got 3 blondes again. This is the trouble.
We've been told off for this. No. So
4 blondes actually.
Stop.
Bailey too.
Be quiet. Maybe Jackie is a natural blonde as well, and she dyes her hair grey. Whitney and Molly, they had the choice not to choose the glass. Likewise, Mike had the choice to choose the glass. So then when Whitney had the glass in her hand and was a bit like, oh, I don't know, oh, dear, what have I done? Oh, look at me. Typical me. Mike kind of tapped her on the shoulder and said, I'll take that glass off for you if you want. And instantly that got the backup of a couple of people. They said, oh, there's a game player. That's someone who wants to manipulate the game a little bit. Was that a bad move by Mike?
Well, yes, because all of them think he's a traitor.
Well,
and he is a traitor.
Yes, but round the round table, he then showed more signs of that. Again, he was like,
his vein on his forehead was pulsating.
and he was sat upright. They said he was sat very straight. Like when he first walked in, he was very casual, kind of just like, yeah.
I think that was Jason, the undercover ex-military man, said that, didn't he? He said, I saw his vein pulsating on his forehead. So
yes, Jason was the one who
Jane was
spotted
drinking
it.
cups and cups of water.
Yeah, Jane gulped water. Well, she gulped water 3 times.
They showed the clip about 10 times.
Yes, and she
different
said,
angles.
And she said that she was very hot to the person next to her. She said, "Oh, is it hot in here?"
There's a lot of studio lights. It was hot because Uzo had his vest on. What was that about?
But that was later in the game.
Yes, but why did he choose to take his clothes
because
off?
he knew that the camera would be on him at that point. He's one of them.
I mean, it's safe
he's
to
one
say,
of them.
It's safe to say he's now my favourite character, my favourite
Player.
contestant. Yeah,
He's one of those like when
don't
you
know
watch,
why, but he just is.
when you watch Big Brother, when they know they're going to be in the diary room and they're going to be broadcast on television, shirt off, press the diary room door, and in you go. Those glasses of what? Those glasses of champagne, then the coloured glasses of champagne. They had the choice of whether to take the £5,000 and keep it, or to put it into the prize fund. Why would you not keep it?
I know, you're not even faithful or traitor yet. You're not going to get money in this game unless you're really the final. It's very unlikely to
You've
get
got
any
a 1
money.
in 24 chance. Okay, 2 in 24 if you're like faithful or traitor. I suppose, you know, whoever you take along for the ride. But at the same time, like $5,000 is $5,000. I genuinely don't. I think people might scoff at you keeping it, but at the same time, in your heart of hearts, you could argue the fact that like if you're in the same position, would you have done the same? And if they said, Yeah, of course I would. I'll say, right, you're a traitor. You're a liar. No way would you have done the same.
You could have just lied
No
and be
way.
like Mike. Mike was like, I'm giving it to charity and then to my wife.
Yeah, and his kid.
It's like, all right.
Yeah, he's having none
Sure
of it.
you are. Sure.
Mike's keeping half.
But
for them.
during the interviews, because Whitney was one who gave it away and Paul Henry wasn't very pleased with her. He
They
was
both
like,
gave it away.
Yeah, but when
And
he
Paul
spoke,
Henry wasn't very
yeah.
pleased with either of them.
Yeah, but when he
He
spoke
said,
to
"What a
Whitney,
waste."
when he spoke to Whitney, he was like, "Oh, what? You don't want to be a traitor because you don't want to play the game." She was like, "It's not enough. I want it all."
Oh yeah, that's true.
So
And she
he
said it
must
with
have-
that scold as well, didn't she? You're
He
right.
must have liked that because he then put her as a traitor.
His stick was throbbing.
It was. Jason could see the throb from far away.
Jackie was jealous.
She wanted to be throbbed.
Jackie was like, "Why can't I make his stick throb?"
So we got 3 traitors around the table with the Paul Henry press.
But the
That's what
Henry
I'm-
press.
Paul Henry press, yeah, on the shoulder. It was,
Gentle, but also firm enough to know.
so it was Whitney.
Do you reckon it's quite hot and wet? Do you reckon you
Yes.
could, even if you wear like a really thick, like cloth jacket, maybe that's why Utah took his vest off because he really wanted to feel Paul's skin. He's like,
possibly.
oh yeah, I feel that warmth.
We may never know. So it was Whitney, Mike, and Jane were chosen. So Jane is the UK ex-detective / policewoman. I can't remember what
She's a legend.
yeah.
Legend.
Mike is the builder, and Whitney is a funeral director. I feel.
She is a funeral director. Again,
Look at me retaining information.
well, very good. Very suspicious finger pointing again, because one of the reasons someone thought that Whitney would be a traitor is because she's around death all the time, so she'd be used to it. Oh, that's a bit tenuous, isn't it? And someone actually pointed out that they don't like tenuous links, and that was Noel. Noel, I think I'm
I
on
agreed
his
with
side
Noel,
with this.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like you don't look for these little micro transactions quite yet.
Because they have been proven over and over again, if you're a serial watcher of the show, that they don't mean anything. Unless you're Mark, who you're using your cane as like a sympathy thing, but then forgetting to use the cane and running around
the mansion,
running
playing the
up
game.
and down Mount Horrid.
Yeah. I mean, Mark, I feel sorry for Mark.
He has a
because
notepad.
he has a notepad. He keeps getting it out. This is riling Jackie up no end. And he keeps writing notes for people. And his theory is that when he gets back to the room, he can remind himself of the notes. And then the next day, he can have a more casual conversation with people with the notebook again. I mean, there's no way you can relax around someone who's constantly writing information about you down in their book.
The way he's going about it is just not the right way. He's annoying people.
He's annoying people.
He's going to be
getting
one
on
of
the
those
wrong way.
ones where they're like, we're just going to banish you because you're annoying, not because we think you're a traitor. That's what's going to happen.
No, well, actually, I was about to say that actually, I think he's going to be one of those that people will be so certain that he's not a traitor that he'll just stay in the game. He's, that person,
Yeah.
the one that just stays in the game again and again and again and again until it gets to the point where he's so annoying that he's just getting banished, not because they know he's a traitor, but because they just want to get rid of him. But somehow he seems to make it to like the 9th episode. He just seems to make it by the skin of his teeth to the near the end, and then he's kind of then banished away. Never murdered, always banished. Those players.
So now that we know the traitors, did you want to just do a very quick get ready for this, everyone?
What's your name and where do you come from?
Yeah, go on then.
So this is from my fact file.
It's always a different website.
Yeah.
But then I suppose it's different regions have
Just
different websites. don't
Whoever,
they?
really. This one
Yeah,
is
whatever.
the spin-off. I think we used the spin-off last year for New Zealand. Because wasn't like one of the writers of the spin-off one of the contestants? Because in New Zealand, there's like 9 degrees of separation for everything.
Yeah,
There's
something
like
like
2
that.
degrees of separation in New Zealand. Right, so Whitney,
Yes.
38, funeral director. Quote, who you choose to trust will decide your fate and possibly your funeral, host Paul Henry declares in the season trailer. So what luck to have a true blue funeral director at hand, as well as organising everyone's final rites. Sounds like a riot, doesn't it? Whitney won't hesitate to throw others under the bus, which sounds like a clever way to both win the game and keep businesses up. One to watch, preferably while you're not being thrown under a
Under the
bus.
bus, yeah. So Whitney seems like she's won either way, whether she wins the game and gets the $100,000 or just the body count. She can then use that for her funeral business. So to be fair, Whitney's a winner. Whitney's a winner. And it's already showing, actually, it's true what they've said, that Whitney is very influential.
She's the leader. She's the top traitor.
Yeah, she's the leader with the traitors. I 100% would say that with certainty. And I think she's trying to manipulate the faithful. I don't know whether she's quite reached that just yet, because there was a few clues that people were...
Some people were suspicious. I can't remember who. Was it
her.
Stephen,
Mark,
possibly? Stephen?
Oh, no, hang on. I'm in the wrong place here.
I can't remember.
Jason. No, what am I doing? I'm just throwing names out for no reason.
There isn't even a Jason on the show, is there? Oh, yeah, there is.
There it is. Jason's the one you said was wearing the high-vis jacket.
I think it was Stephen said something about Whitney, I feel, but that may be wrong.
Someone said something. It wasn't Stephen. No, 100% wasn't Stephen. It was one of the younger players. I think it was Andrew. Or no, it was Bean. Bean.
Right.
By the way, from this moment onwards, Ben is Bean, because when he came out of the car, he said, "All right, I'm Bean." So Bean. I think it was Bean who said it. See, we start. This is what we do.
Right. So we have Mike, who's a 35-year-old builder.
Suave Mike.
Yeah. As always, when we have leckies, builders, tradespeople, they are always invited around our house to do the work.
Yes.
Here.
Obviously,
they just get
no
a free
charge.
invite.
Yeah.
So,
we make
Mike,
tea.
You're welcome anytime. Right. So, quote.
Free bed and board.
This is a very short fact file on Mike, and he's right at the bottom of the page. So I don't know what you want to take from that. Quote, Mike is a man who sees himself as world wise and says he often finds himself in situations where he's the smartest person in the room. Seems fine. No cause for concern. Bring on the coffins.
That says absolutely nothing about him, other than we've learned that he's a man.
And he thinks he's the smartest in the room, but straight away Whitney was lead traitor. So.
It's funny that you say that in the fact file he's got that arrogance, because I don't think he has. I think he's quietly observant. Whether that's to a fault, I'm not sure just yet. But I feel like he's not saying anything. And again, that's quite dangerous in this game, because if you ride the coattails of others, people immediately spot that and start accusing you. And that's something that both Jane and Whitney, as soon as they got up to the Traitors, what's it called? The Traitors Conclave. The Traitors the Traitors Club. They have mirror balls and all kinds of stuff. There's the first thing they said was like, "Oh, we both suspected you," and Mike was a bit like, "Oh." So,
I think he went in thinking he's going to be like the best one, and he's quickly found out I'm not.
He's made himself too suspicious, and Jane and Whitney were straight away were the first to say that to him, and I think that's given him a bit of a shock to the system.
I felt really sorry for him, because both of them, when they all took their hoods off, they were like, "Oh, I thought it was you," to Mike, and then they looked at each other and was like, "Oh, I had no idea." Yeah, it's like, "Oh, Mike."
I know. So I think that really was a shock to Mike, as you say, and that could be dangerous, because they've said that they're going to support him and they'll protect and divert any attention to him. But I think if it gets too much, I don't have any suspicion whatsoever that Whitney especially would be the first one to be like, gone.
Yeah. Right, so we have Jane, who's 53.
Love Jane.
Jane hails from the UK.
Yeah.
Coming home. Right, which means she comes from the land of the best traitors format of all. That's not my words, that's the author of this article.
Are you kidding?
No, that's what it says.
That's what it says.
Mysteriously, she loves, quote, having a laugh, quote. Was that quote necessary?
Having a laugh.
And is completely competitive. And, quote, is a strong, confident and smart woman, end quote. Does she also have a bold fringe and a fondness for tweed? Claudia Winkleman, is that you?
This person must watch the UK version.
I remember last year when we used the spin-off, and I do remember as I was going through the fact file from whoever wrote it last year, I was getting increasingly annoyed at their like crap jokes, their camp jokes.
Leave them alone.
We're still here and we love it.
They love the UK version of the Traitors.
Exactly, the spin-off. Love it.
So there's what's not to love about this person.
So there you go. They're the three traitors currently.
They're the three currently. And so before we get to the Traitors Conclave, where they had to then make a decision to recruit again, they played a game. And in the game, they had to look
for mission
body parts of a doll.
Deceased baby, yes.
Not a deceased baby.
Well, if Paul Henry had his way.
I mean, if Paul Henry had his name, of course it would have been a deceased baby with his eyeball pulled out. But it wasn't, sadly, for Paul. It was just a doll. Lucy the doll, or Lucifer the doll. And each body part was worth $1,000. I mean, the prize money.
Yeah. Legs, arms, head.
Knocking up. This time, series 1 of New Zealand Traitors, do you remember the game they had to play? look for things around the mansion, play hide and seek.
And they had to drink like green cocktails or something, didn't they?
Yeah, and one of them got given a green
weird.
cocktail. And that remember, because then they all started accusing her of being a traitor. Like for about 3 episodes, she just kept fighting and fighting and fighting. Bless her. I can't even remember her name. But bless her. But they did it. They found it. And there was another clue so they could double the money. Now, this is where Mark kind of fell into another unfortunate situation, which was that he didn't join the team of finding the double your money.
He went off script.
Eyeball. He went off script. He went to the pool table
and like just played around and like.
I think he thought that one of the balls was going to be an eyeball.
That's his Dungeons and Dragons training, you see. But yeah, it even annoyed Paul Henry because he was like, if they can't find the eye, can I just bring this out? And it's like, no.
Yeah.
This random item that I found.
Paul Henry was like, you're not a surgeon, are you? Are you, Mark? No.
So yeah, he's rubbing people up the wrong way. And
he is
3 of them went up to find the eyeball in a room full of dolls.
Yes. Now, this annoyed me a little bit because, again, we've discussed this on many a series. And that is that why, if you're a traitor or you were faithful, would you deliberately sabotage the prize money? It's the same pot. If the pots were separate, so if they did a twist in one of the series where the traitors have a separate pot, of course sabotage the game.
No one sabotaged it, did they?
No, but Terry was accusing them of the 3 who went upstairs to look for the eyeball to double the money that they'd won. Terry was like, well, if they don't find the eyeball, I think that they're a target on the back and they're traitors. It's like, no, there's no correlation there. None at all. You cannot link one thing to the next with that sense. It's a communal prize pot. There's no way you can do that.
Even Jane said that, didn't she? She was like, we're all the same pot, so we're just going to do this.
Yeah, Jane said that. Jane said that I'm going to work really hard, and I can't wait for I hope they do the kidnapping task again in the series. I really do. I loved that so much.
I'm looking for the final. I'm looking forward to the final task.
What the challenges? The I'm a Celebrity challenges.
Oh, wow. We just don't know what lays ahead with us this series.
Sit in a shower with a worm.
But they got all the money in the end.
They did. So now they're prize money. They're already a fifth of the way to the total prize money.
The next 4 episodes is going to be like £250 probably. That's what normally happens.
But they're at $20,000. That's a good chunk of money. New Zealand dollars. 20,000 New Zealand dollars. All in silver bars. Don't forget you can buy us a silver bar, buymeacoffee.com/faithful. And so that's good. This is good prize money. I mean, half of that was added by, of course, the Whitney and Molly drinking the red liquid task. Otherwise, it would have only been 10. But
there is going to be a murder though on the first night. But there's also Paul Henry did a knock on the thing. He was working late.
Well, again, if you'd watched the writer of the spin-off's favourite version of the Traitors, which is not their native version, then you would have probably seen this twist coming. And that is that they have to recruit a 4th member of the traitor crew.
And straight away, Whitney was taking lead out of all of them.
Yep.
And she was like, let's make a pact between us. We'll bring a traitor in, throw them under the bus, and people will be happy they got a traitor and we can go under.
Bring them in as bait.
The way that they thought, we thought it's obvious they're going to bring Mark in. Everyone thinks he's a traitor, so they'll get rid of that plan. And then Jackie turns up and picks up a letter.
I was genuinely surprised by Jackie's inclusion. So Jackie was mentioned.
Most upset.
Jackie was mentioned. Whitney said, "Oh no, I don't really." Mentioned by Micah, we should add. Whitney said, "No, I don't really want to put Jackie up because she's a friend of mine, a strong ally."
Yeah, because they had lots of scenes together, didn't they?
So I want to use her later down the line so that I can use her as a crutch to kind of like carry my support forward to the final. And then next minute you see Jackie walking to this chair with the invitation to be a traitor.
I am wondering if
really
Whitney's doing choice. Like 2 steps ahead where she's thinking, I'm not going to betray Jackie. And maybe she's just going to betray Mike instead.
That's what I was thinking. I'm wondering if she deliberately made Mike feel like he had some kind of involvement. He made the decision of Jackie, and then between Jackie, Jane, and Whitney, that they would then going up against Mike.
It's what we need with 3 female traitors. I mean, we've been waiting long enough.
We've had a very strong male themed traitor series. We need a good, strong female lead this time.
And last year they kept getting rid of the women, didn't they? On New Zealand, I remember the accusations that were flying around.
Many different versions that that the women always seem to be the ones that are collateral damage for
they're the best
males.
Players. So get rid of Mike. That's what I'm team.
Right.
Yeah, I want 3 female traitors and them to get rid of Mike.
Do you think we'll ever get to a point where they'll actually because like obviously we're getting into like a third series in some of the versions now. Do you think that there's going to be a point when they're going to just have one traitor, or they're going to have 4 traitors, or like half of them will be
can't have
traitors?
one. In case the traitor gets killed, then the game ends.
True,
So-
but you could have just 2. I mean, they've always kept to the 3 format. Obviously, the 4th has been
I think
added
they did
as a
that
bit of a
last year on
surprise.
UK, didn't they? It was 2 and then they had to pick the third.
No, it was 3 and they had to pick the 4th.
Oh yeah, it was.
Mm.
I don't know. We don't talk about other series here, so we've just
Apart
broken our
from
own
just
rules.
round 5.
But so yeah, Jackie's been brought in to like allegedly be thrown under the bus. We're not sure, but they still have to murder someone. But they didn't really hint at who was being murdered.
I mean, that's
Although,
tricky.
Didn't Joe come up as a suggestion for before they got interrupted?
Joe was put up as a strong player, but then that's when Whitney kind of piped up and said, well, let's just remind ourselves that we're meant to be getting rid of someone.
I'm going to take a wild guess out of no knowledge at all and say Brianna is going to be murdered. She looks like a first murder type.
Brianna said something which cracked me up, and I can't remember what she said, but it did make me laugh.
I mean, she did say something a bit weird, didn't she? She was like, oh, what did she do? She like put her hands under her thing like that, didn't she? She was like, and she said something ridiculous. It's like, pardon? So she's my pick as like a random first murder. Easy, no one will be suspicious type thing.
I don't know. I didn't really know about Brianna. That's a shame. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I see. For me, it would be someone who I don't even remember seeing on the show. And when I sat down with you, just get us started to record, I actually said, Kat. Who the heck was Kat? So I don't remember Kat.
She had a few bits, but not much, I think.
But the thing is, they tend to get rid of someone who they've given them a bit of screen time for. So I'm presuming it's going to be. I think it might be someone who thrown a few accusations out there. So Terry maybe.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Molly's
Terry.
been a little bit vocal. I suppose if you could argue, Bean has been a bit vocal too. It's hard. I can't really. There's not been someone who stands out. I mean, the obvious choice for not get someone murdered would be Mark. Mark is just going to get banished eventually, so just keep him in the game and let it run. But I have to say one more thing. Jane, I think, is in a safe position as well, just to point out, because Jane has been seen as a bit of a mother figure in the house as well.
That's what Brianna and I think it was Ben said, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
So, before we go as well, because we're running out of time, we just do the last fact file for our traitor.
Jackie.
Because Jackie is now a traitor, so she now gets a fact file. So Jackie, 70, clairvoyant.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it seems like they put clairvoyance in the traitors just so that when they're banished from the game, everyone else can say, she should have seen that coming. I feel we have said that on every series of this podcast.
Well, the thing is with clairvoyance is that they always, when they're about to leave, say who they think the traitors are, and then people believe it.
And they're wrong.
On the strength of it being a clairvoyant, which is nutty.
Jackie,
Nuttier than a box of crunchy nut cornflakes.
Jackie's ready to play, admitting that she'll happily hold a grudge and her mouth often runs away with her. She also loves to mess with people's minds, a statement I'm sure doesn't apply to her career of reading the future based on how someone shuffles a pack of cards. Very sarcastic there, but there you go. So we'll have to wait till the next episode to see who's murdered. And
Exciting stuff. I mean, again, it's a strong start to the series. I had no doubt whatsoever. No. But it felt weird, kind of like when we were recording this is when the season begins now, isn't it? Because then we got the American version, then we got the Canadian. What is wrong with me? And then we got the UK series. I will miss the Australian one being there in the middle. But I feel like we need something.
The budget's been sent over to Paul, so
enough talking.
Sorry, Paul. Okay, I'll shut up. So before we go then, as always, if you've got any theories, you've got any ideas, we would love to hear from you. faithfultothetraitors@gmail.com. Find us on X @Traitors Podcast, Instagram, and Threads at Faithful to the Traitors. And you can, if you like listening to the podcast and you want to see the visual version of it, which is quite good, isn't it? Mm-hmm. We've got Tom Nook now.
Yeah, you can see it on YouTube, Spotify.
Watch it on YouTube. You can watch us on Spotify. Just search Faithful to the Traitors Podcast. And if you want to help contribute to the show, don't forget to like, follow on all the social medias and all that guff. And if you review the show, that also helps us. If you give us 5 stars, that's even better. Or you can go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful.
Lovely, there you go then. So until the next episode, stay faithful.